Okay, so today we are going to do a quick review of converting units of measurement from Chapter 10. These are all of our charts that we looked at in Chapter 10. This one over here is measuring length. Here we have measuring weight. And over down here in the bottom we have measuring capacity. Really the best thing you can do is just make some flashcards and practice these until you learn them. Additionally, in Chapter 10 we talked about the metric system. Remember here in the middle of our chart for the metric system, this is our base. And we use meters to measure length. We use liters for capacity, and then grams are for like weight or mass. We came up with a nice little saying to help us to remember this, and it was that King Henry died while drinking chocolate milk. And if we put the first letter of all of those together, then we get K for king, H for Henry, and so on and so forth. And that helps us to be able to remember the order of these. Now, the reason why it's so important that we remember the order of these is because the metric system is a base 10 system. And so that means that every time we move from one unit to the next, we are moving by a factor of 10. So here, if we're going from, like, say, centiliters to liters, right, a liter is 100 times bigger, or 10 to the power of 2 times bigger than a centiliter. So, for example, if we had, I don't know, 556 centiliters, and we wanted to change that to liters, just like with our other units, our customer units. If we are going from a small unit to a large unit, then we need to divide. And here in the metric system, we're going to divide by 10 to the power of 2. Hopefully we remember that all we need to do when we do this is put a decimal in and then move that decimal based on our exponent. In this case, it's 2 times. So 556 centiliters is the same as 5 and 56 hundredths of a liter. So that's the way this whole system works. And it works all the way from kiloliters to milliliters, or kilograms to milligrams. Okay, we're going to take a look at a few of our problems from the chapter, just to kind of give us a quick review. Here it says that Lorena's backpack has a mass of 19,000 grams. What is the mass of Lorena's backpack in kilograms? So again, we are going from a small unit of grams to a larger unit of kilograms. And if we think out, King Henry died, this is DA, drinking chocolate milk, right? Then grams is right here. And so we're going to move over once, twice, and 3 times. So we're going to take 19,000 and we are going to divide by 10 to the power of 3. This 3 tells me to move my decimal 3 times. I'm dividing, so I'm going to move it left. There's no decimal in this number, but I can add one right here without changing its value. So I move it over once, twice, and 3 times. And so 19,000 grams is the same as 19 kilograms. Let's try another one. Why don't we pause this one and then you solve it and come back? And we'll do that for the rest of these as well. All right, here Carlos bought 4 pounds of carrots. And the question is, how many ounces of carrots did he buy? So we are going from pounds, which is a large unit, to ounces, which is a smaller unit. So if we have 4 pounds, we need to know that 1 pound is the same as 16 ounces. So in this case, we are going to multiply. Again, big to small, we multiply. So 16 times 4. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 plus 2 is 6. So Carlos bought 64 ounces of carrots if he bought 4 pounds. All right, pause it, solve it, and come back. Here it says a large pot holds 4 quarts of spaghetti sauce. Lisa has 1 pint containers of spaghetti sauce. Complete the table to help you find the number of 1 pint containers of spaghetti sauce Lisa will need to fill the pot. So in this situation, we want to change 4 quarts to some number of pints, right? Because we need to figure out how many 1-pint containers she will need to fill the pot. Quarts are bigger than pints, so we are going from big to small, so we multiply. We also have the chart here that they want us to fill in. And hopefully we can remember that every quart is made up of 2 pints. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then so for this little question mark right here, we would need to multiply 4 times 2 is 8. 6 times 2 is 12. 8 times 2 is 16. So just as a review on how we're going to fill in this chart. And this can be a little bit misleading, right? Because you might then say, oh, well, I got to 16, so I need 16 1-pint containers, but that would fill up an 8-quart pot. But Lisa's pot is not 8 quarts. Lisa's pot is 4 quarts. So I can look at my chart here and I can see that 4 times 2 was 8. So Lisa will need 8 1-pint containers to fill her pot. Next one. Kelly is having a party. She wants to make punch. The recipe for the punch uses 5 pints of pineapple juice, 9 cups of orange juice, 3/4 of a gallon of lemonade, and 1 quart of apricot nectar. Kelly says her recipe will make 36 cups of punch. Is Kelly correct? Right, so that's our question. And what we need to do is we need to figure out, will all of these ingredients together equal up to 36 cups of punch? Now, we can do this a couple of different ways, but because it's giving us the answer in cups, right, we can just go ahead and work with that idea. So we can just change all of these other numbers to cups, add them together, and figure it out. So here we're going to start with 5 pints of pineapple juice. Each pint has 2 cups in it, so 5 times 2 equals 10 cups of pineapple juice. Here, we don't even have to change orange juice. It's already in cups, so 9 cups of orange juice. Now, I'm going to come back to the gallon one because it's probably the hardest one. 1 quart of apricot nectar. Well, a quart has 4 cups in it, so 1 times 4 is 4 cups. And now the tricky one. We have to figure out how many cups are there in a gallon. Well, we know that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon, and we know that there are 4 cups in 1 quart. So 4 times 4 equals 16 cups for 1 gallon. Now, she didn't use the entire gallon of lemonade, so we need to multiply 16 times 3/4 to figure out how many cups she actually used. Hopefully you remember that when we look at these problems like this with multiplying fractions, if we have a factor and a multiple, like in the numerator and denominator, we can simplify beforehand. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, 16 divided by 4 is 4, and 3 times 4 means that she used 12 cups of lemonade. Now we just add all these together. Well, 12 plus 4 is 16, and 16 plus this 10 is 26, and 26 plus 9 is 35 cups. So we learned that Kelly was not correct. She was off by 1 cup. All right, here we are, just a couple more. This one, Sam was practicing long track speed skating at an ice rink. The distance around the rink is 250 yards. He skated around the rink 6 times. How many more yards does he need to skate around to complete 3 miles? So our question is, how many more yards to make up 3 miles? Well, I want to find out how far he skated so far. So I need to take 250 and multiply that by 6. 6 times 0 is 0, that's 30. 12 plus 3 is 15. So far, he has skated 1,500 yards. Well, they want to know how many more yards to skate 3 miles. So I know that there are 1,760 yards in a mile. If I'm doing 3 miles, I need to multiply that by 3. That's 0, 18, 22, and 5. So 3 miles equals 5,280 yards. I've already seen that Sam has skated 1,500 yards. So to figure out how much more he has left, all I need to do is subtract. And 0 minus 0 is 0, and 8. And I need to do some regrouping. 12 minus 5 gives us 7, and 4 minus 1 gives us 3. So the answer is that he needs to skate another 3,780 yards in order to get in his 3 miles. All right, the last one we're going to look at was partially made up by Ike, and I also contributed to it. So let's look at this one, then we'll pause it and try and solve it. Billy is making 14 pounds of food for his pet Komodo dragon. His kitchen scale is broken and will only measure ounces, and he desperately needs to convert the food into pounds. His pet is hungry and may eat him if it doesn't get fed soon. He tries using Dr. Google, but then he remembered he didn't have any electronics. Each steak Billy bought from the store weighs 7 ounces. How many steaks does he need to give the dragon? Hurry up. You're his only hope. All right. So for this one, we need to know how much food, how many steaks to give the dragon. We know that one steak equals 7 ounces. We know that he needs to have 14 pounds of steak. Hopefully we also remember that 1 pound equals 16 ounces. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn each steak into a fraction of a pound. So each steak is 7/16 of a pound. I know that I need to come up with 14 pounds. So I'm going to divide 14 by 7/16, right? Because what I really want to know is 7/16 times what equals 14, but this is a simpler problem to solve. Now, when we divide with fractions, we take this fraction and we flip it over. We're going to put the 16 on top and the 17 on the bottom, and then we are going to multiply. So we get 14 times 16 over 7. Now, 7 is a factor of 14. I'm going to simplify first. 7 divided by 1 is, 7 divided by 7 is 1. 14 divided by 7 is 2. So now I'm ending up with just ones on the bottom. So I eliminate my fraction and I just get 2 times 16, which equals 32. So that means then that our friend Billy needs to feed his Komodo dragon 32 steaks. Hopefully figured that one out in time to save Billy from his pet. All right, so that's our review of chapter 10. After you go through this review, go to Think Central. You'll find your converting units of measurement quiz 1 there. Go ahead and take that quiz and then check in and let me know what you might need help with.